Well, the United States has once again stepped in to intervene thousands of miles away in Nigeria this time, after Washington said that it had approval from the African nation. The bombardment on Christmas Day targeted Islamic State terrorists. For Donald Trump, this comes at a critical time politically. A video released by the U.S. Department of War appears to show a missile launch from a military vessel toward the region. The U.S. military says the operation hit camps believed to be run by ISIS in the Sokoto state on Nigeria's border with Niger. Now, these are the images coming in from the Sokoto state, showing locals holding metal debris, which appear to be part of a projectile. The video shows fire burning in the background, turning the night sky orange. The Nigerian government has acknowledged the American strikes and indicated of more such targeted attacks in the future. The country's foreign minister called it an ongoing process in which Nigeria's authorities were working together with the United States and other countries. Toga confirmed that the operation was conducted with Nigeria's intelligence support. But among the locals, many are hesitant about the ramifications of an American intervention.
If they're intruding without permission, you're intruding by force, so you're not justified. Every country has the liberty of making their own decision.
Now remember, Washington's strike is not sudden. Last month, Donald Trump had hinted at military action against the Islamic State and other jihadist groups that have been targeting Nigerian Christians. For the African country, it is a counter-terror measure not aimed at any religion. For Trump, it is a move to protect Christians that is bound to receive support from his MAGA base back home. The United States is already gearing up for the midterm elections next year, and Trump's approval rating has witnessed a decline on several parameters. Then there's the constant scrutiny triggered by the Epstein file saga and staggered release of the dossier. Amid all of these controversies and the backlash, the strike in a foreign land to protect Christians can give the Conservative Party a boost that Trump needs. The question is, will the voters slipping out of his grip return to his camp now? All right. Let's get a perspective on what this means, this entire airstrike by United States of America. Joining us live from Sterling in United States is Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. He's a military expert and the host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Daniel, good evening. Welcome to WION. I want to start by asking you what you make of these strikes. Many are saying the timing of these airstrikes by United States is significant because it comes ahead of the midterms. It also comes amid the growing pressure of the Epstein files on the Trump administration.
Yeah, I think it's actually significant on a number of cases. And although I argue that the midterms is like an eternity away, and historically, events this far away from a November election almost aren't even remembered by that time. Many times they aren't remembered at all. I mean, only things that happen in the near term, like the last 2 or 3 months, is really going to weigh into effect. And people rarely remember anything, even major events that happened in the year prior to that. So if anybody hopes that on the Republican side, they're definitely going to be disappointed. But they may also be disappointed doubly because many of the people they're trying to get to the polls, the MAGA Republicans, voted for Trump because he said he would get out of stupid wars, that he would not start any new ones. And yet here we go, you're talking whether it's Yemen or Syria or Iran and now Nigeria, others that are threatened. You know, it's just not a good look, and it's not something that President Trump wants. And even worse than that, if this does not result in anything positive, if it actually exacerbates and accelerates the violence in Nigeria, then it will be an even bigger negative for President Trump.
Colonel Daniel, you're a veteran yourself, so help me understand this. The ISIS threat has, over a period of time declined in the regions that it had stronghold in Syria and Iraq. But just the fact that it's increasing in African nations and the American focus on it, what does it reflect for you?
It reflects an absence of thinking, if I can just be blunt about it, because very often when you look at these Muslim groups, they'll rebrand themselves whenever it's useful to do so. I mean, this conflict in Nigeria, in one form or another, has been going on since 2009, and there has been a lot of it's more an ethnic and tribal and economic conflict that's going on in different parts of the country, and it does include some Muslim and some Christian components. But there have been, by some reports anyway, nearly a similar amount, and in one report I saw a larger number of Muslims that have been killed in this conflict. And when you have something like this that comes on Christmas Day, a religious holiday for the Christians, on a Muslim place, it's kind of an in-your-face kind of an insult. And if anybody thinks that if there is ISIS or whatever their name is today is going to back down and cow because of a strike, they are gravely mistaken and have not been paying attention. More likely, in my view, this will cause them to accelerate and retaliate, not back down.
You know, Colonel David, coming back to the question of the timing of these attacks. Now, Donald Trump, of course, carrying these out amid the Epstein files controversy. You know, many are questioning that. But the fact that American intervention, this is not the first time, despite the fact that Nigerian authorities were in loop of these strikes, the fact that Nigerian government has itself acknowledged and provided that tactical support that was needed to the US on their own land, reflects that there was support within the country. But you know, we've seen over a period of time, the American intervention has not gone down well with people of those lands. And therefore, where do you see this going?
Well, listen, I mean, even at the fundamental level, you're supposed to only use military power, first of all, if your national security is threatened. But once that political issue has been solved, then you get to the military aspects of what is the attainable military objective? What do you want the use of violence to accomplish? What is the end state at the end? And then it's got to be tied together to some kind of a coherent and comprehensive plan and strategy. I see literally none. All I see is that we made a strike and fired some missiles and hit a target. That's it so far. There's no comprehensive plan. What's going to come next? It's just, hey, you don't like that one? We'll give you some more if you don't do what I tell you. But how are you going to make them do that? And what do you do if they don't? There doesn't seem to be much thought through about plan B and steps 2 and 3 and 4, et cetera. And that is a big problem that has never resulted in anything good for either the United States or the target country.
So quickly, before I let you go, this is just, I mean, you're saying that this will not have an impact on the midterm elections or American voters looking at affordability as their top priority instead of saving Christians in Nigeria.
No, and listen, I mean, there's plenty of people care a lot about Christians elsewhere in the world, and there's plenty of Christians in America, and you know, there's no question that they care a lot about them. That's sincere. But is this going to be stopping of it? And is this going to solve that problem? I don't think that it is. I really, I fear that there'll be a retaliation that will get more Christians killed. I think that's a bigger problem.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it there. Colonel Daniel Davis, thank you very much for speaking with us on Beyond. We'll have to wait and watch how this really moves forward. For the time being, of course, Trump administration claiming victory over ISIS in Nigeria.